Alright guys, welcome to the Evil Dead Q&A. Now you might be wondering why I'm doing this instead of the X-Men Q&A. Well, basically because, like I said in both of the Q&A preludes, I didn't really know which one I was going to do first. Just kind of depended on a few elements. One being of why I wanted to do the Evil Dead Q&A first was basically because, well, it's October and I want to do some Halloween stuff, and nothing says Halloween stuff than doing Evil Dead. So, yeah. Just thought I'd do this first. The X-Men Q&A will be coming soon, but I wanted to get this out of the way because obviously, yeah, I want to do Halloween stuff. It's my favorite month of the year, so yeah. But anyway, let's get into the questions. As always, if I did not answer someone's question, that usually means YouTube was being an outright dick and either decided to mark the questions as spam or didn't have them at all. So, excuse me. So yeah, if I didn't answer someone's questions, that usually means YouTube marked them as spam or didn't have them on my list at all, so I do apologize in advance for that. Alright, having said that, let's get on with the questions, starting with Zack the Thunder King. Have you ever played any of the Evil Dead video games, and if so, which ones did you play? I remember playing Fistful of Boomsticks once. That was pretty fun. Thought that was a pretty good game. I can't remember because I don't own the game anymore, and I don't have the system anymore either to play it, so what I remember was pretty fun. Alright, second question. Would you replace your hand with a chainsaw? Damn straight. What do you think I'm going to put on there? An automail hand? Actually, that would be good too, but chainsaw all the way. I just wouldn't use it for wiping. Anyway, thank you for those questions. Moving on now to Major Badass, who asks, how would you design it if you had to come up with the most metal Deadite ever? Most metal Deadite ever. I think I would have like a mouth on the stomach, like it would be 8 feet tall. The eye, there would be like a leather jacket full with stitched in with human eyes. Like the teeth would be jutting out, and they'd look like glass on the lips. Like the eyeballs would be pulled out, and they're just hanging there. The scalp is all rotting and melting. The hands have like, I don't know, elephant penises for fingers. I don't know. It'd wear like it would like wear leather pants made of human skin, shoes out of people's tongues, and I don't like. It will just say, "I'm going to butt fuck your soul." There you go, the most metal Deadite ever, if not the most grossest. It's definitely the most brutal. I mean, this is Death Clock. This is be a Death Clock Deadite. Anyway. Second question. Realistically, do you think you would go all badass like Ash, or would you be a bitch and start freaking out if the plot of Evil Dead ever happened to you and a group of your friends? Oh, I'd be the one selling them out. Like, just be like, I know how this goes, so I'm just going to stand over here and cry. Yeah. Realistically speaking, I'm not a hero. Anyway. Second question. What universe would be the most fucked up to see this shit happening in, and what would be the most hilarious? Most fucked up? I would have to say, like, maybe, I'd say MLP, but people have thought far worse with thanks to cupcakes. I would have to say, like, maybe the Care Bears get possessed by Deadites, and most hilarious, regular show. I think they could have some fun there. So anyway, thank you for those questions, Major Badass. Moving on now to Omnitron12345, who asks, do you think there should be a new Evil Dead game that focuses more on survival horror? With the success of, Evil Within and Until Dawn, I think yeah, you could honestly do that. Now, honestly, I think I would keep some of the horror comedy in there, but yeah, I think you could make a good survival horror game, something in the vein of like those two games I previously mentioned, and still have a lot of fun with it. Yeah, I think that's a possibility. Second question. What would be your ideal weapon combo against the Deadites like Ash's boomstick and chainsaw? What would I use for instead of the boomstick and chainsaw? That is a tough one. Maybe AK-47 and potato gun. Yep. Alright. Third question. Do you think the old rumor of Ash meeting Mia from the Evil Dead remake could still happen in Ash vs. the Evil Dead? I think it's a strong possibility. The Evil Dead remake did say that it was set around the Evil Dead universe, so I think it's a possibility that we could see Mia somewhere in the Evil Dead, Ash vs. Evil Dead TV series. I think it's a possibility. So thank you for those questions, Omnitron. Moving on now to Renee Valdez, who asks, if there was one franchise of any kind, Mortal Kombat, DC, etc., that Army of Darkness didn't cross over with in the comics, what would you love to see? Which would you cross over, and what would be the plot? Okay, Evil Dead crossover I've always wanted, basically. Ghostbusters. Army of Darkness versus Ghostbusters. That would be perfect. That is the seriously, IDW, Dynamite, get together, do Army of Darkness crossing over with Ghostbusters. This needs to happen. I already got my other Evil Dead checklist with the Army of Darkness, the Hack/Slash Army of Darkness crossover that happened last year. I got that checked off the list. All I need now is a Ghostbusters one. I just need a Ghostbusters and Army of Darkness crossover, and my, life will be complete. Anyway, the plot, I don't know what the plot would be. I'd like to do something with Gozer. I'd like to bring back Gozer and use that creature to use the Deadites. I don't know what the plot, again, yeah. So yeah, anyway, think of that question, Renee. Moving on now to ActionFan19, who asks, if the apocalypse ever happened, would you arm yourself like Ash? I guess the Deadite apocalypse. Maybe, yeah. Second question, do you agree that there are too many awesome lines from Army of Darkness just to pick one favorite? Yeah, that's true. It is super duper hard to pick out a single, really good line, because that entire movie's quotable. It's kind of like like some other movies I know, like Tombstone. My whole family can quote Tombstone. I, however, can quote Army of Darkness. I don't know if that's sad or not. Alright. Question. Your final question is, Dipper and Mabel find the Book of the Dead. What chaos ensues? Oh, I'm surprised this hasn't been a crossover yet. I seriously don't... Has there been someone written a Gravity Falls Evil Dead fanfiction? I don't think so. If there hasn't been, what the fuck, people? We need to get on that. I think the chaos ensues, blood, guts, everything, and Robbie gets killed horribly. That's my end game. Anyway, thank you for that question, Action Fan. Moving on now to Christian Sager, who asks, Bobobo finds the Necronomicon Ex Mortis. How does Bobobo, his friends, and the Deadites react? I think the Deadites would be like, what the fuck? Guy has whipped nostrils, nose hair? What the fuck? Oh yeah, I think, these next two questions came from Christian Sager. I think I forgot to mention that, but yeah. Christian Sager saying the whole Bobobo versus Evil Dead. That would be a really crazy one. Alright. Second question. If your hand got cut off and replaced with a weapon, real or fictional, that was, other than a chainsaw, what would it be? I think if I was to replace it anything, again, potato gun. Alright. Thank you for those questions, Christian. Moving on now to Jason Voorhees 2011, who asks, favorite Ash quote? Favorite Ash quote? Like Action Fan said, there's too many good Ash quotes to, you can't pick a favorite because they're all friggin' awesome. There's one line I don't think gets enough love, though, where he's just like, after he talks about, the boomstick, and he's like, now I swear, if any of you even touches me. I feel like that's pretty much how I am whenever I'm out in public, where I just look at people and go, now I swear, if any of you so much as even touches me. Anyway, second question. Which property would you like to see crossover with Evil Dead? Kinda already answered this one, Jason. It's still Ghostbusters. Although, if I was to say another one, it would have to be... Alien would be fun. I don't know. Anyway. Moving on now to Thaddeus Manning, who asks, since we haven't had a good Evil Dead video game since Fistful of Boomsticks for the original Xbox and PS2, how would you make your own Evil Dead video game? I think, like the previous question asked, kind of like this. I'm going to answer this one because this is asking me about my own, how I would do it. I would make it definitely like the first Evil Dead movie, where it is kind of like a survival horror, but I think I would have some comedy bits in there. Would I have Ash? Probably not. I don't think I would have Ash as the main character. I would have like another group of teens, kind of like in the vein of the remake. Sorry, to get something to drink. So yeah, I think I would do something like it's a different group, but I would have Ash in this film, like, not a film, game, I mean. Yeah, sorry, game. Like, he would be voice on, like, you could pick up little recordings, kind of like in Alien Isolation, where you can find little recordings of Sigourney Weaver reprising her role as Ripley, and some of the other actors reprising their roles as well for that film, where you can pick up little audio tracks. You can find John Hurts, you can find Tom Skerritt and the others, not just Sigourney Weaver in there. So yeah, I would have it that maybe you can pick up like little audio tracks and play them on like the tape recorder from the second film, and have it be Ash narrating, kind of telling you, hey, this happened, this happened, this happened, and yeah, have fun. So there you go. Second question. I was at a book... You said you were at a Books-A-Million one day and stumbled across an Army of Darkness graphic novel, Omnibus Collection Volume 1. Have I read it? I've read some of the... I haven't read the whole omnibus, but I have read some of the books in the omnibus. And I liked it. I rather liked it. If you haven't picked it up, I'd say go check it out. Third question. And your final question is, if there was an Ash vs. Dead Rising video game made... What weapons could you see Ash attached to his arm beside the chainsaw and take out zombies and deadites? Since you can basically craft your own weapons in Dead Rising games. I think he would just stick with the chainsaw and boomstick. But I do see, like, maybe he could make his own, like, maybe like a rapid-fire dildo gun or something stupid like that. Anyway, thank you for those questions, Thaddeus. Moving on now to Wolfman the Impaler, who asks, how would the Deadites act if any of them was possessed by someone after smoking pot? You mean, so basically they possess you, Wolfman? Alright. So if they possess someone smoking pot, I think they would just be like, come on, man, we gotta kill these teens. I can't, man. My fingers are finging. Whoa. I'm tripping balls, man. Something like that. Second question. The Eds find the Nomicon. On a scale of 1 to 10, how fucked is Peach Creek, and who winds up being like Ash? Scale of 1 to 10, it's a 12 in the fucko-meter. Now, who would end up being like Ash would probably, out of all the characters, have to be Marie. I'd imagine Marie would be the take no shit, I'm gonna, look death in the eye and laugh my ass off in the process kind of girl. She just kind of strikes me that she would be, that kind of girl. So Marie would definitely be that character, if not something like Daryl Dixon from Walking Dead. So, yeah. Third question. Ash runs into the Cenobites from Hellraiser. What happens? They will tear his soul apart. Or, well, they would, unless they got a boomstick up their ass. So, it's a lot of fun, and again, it's another crossover. I kind of was like, Boom Studios, you do Hellraiser comics. Get in touch with them. Come on. Anyway. So think of those questions, Wolfman. Moving on now to Andre Partridge, who asks, which of the Evil Dead films is your favorite and why? Oh, tough question. Tough question. See, Evil Dead is a great survival horror film. Evil Dead 2 is a great horror comedy. And, Army of Darkness is like a fun action horror comedy in itself. And the Evil Dead remake does have some merit to it as well. As granted, it's one of those few remakes where it's not better than the original, but it can still hold its own. It's kind of like, at least how I see it. I don't hate the remake. In fact, I don't even call it a remake. I just call it part of the movies. So it's not bad, but it can't supersede what came before it. It's just kind of like, there it is. It's not bad, but it could. And it's not to say it's good either. I mean, it's just an okay film. But if you were to ask me what was my favorite, that's a tough one. Army of Darkness is great, but I think I might give it to Evil Dead 2. It just really knows how to balance the horror and comedy, something like, Shaun of the Dead did. Anyway, now, where was I? Sorry about that. What was it? Yeah, but basically, yeah, it was the horror comedy that opened up to make, and it was kind of like the blueprint to make good horror comedy, So I would have to say Evil Dead 2. Second question: what are your thoughts on a new Ash vs. Evil Dead TV series? What are your thoughts on? Okay, yeah, my second. Yeah, your second.